Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, but in thinking about how your company, WeStrive, has evolved, I was reminded of the gold rush days where a lot of folk took the risk in claiming a plot of land in the hope that they could find gold and their fortunes. Yet at the same time, there was perhaps a small group of people who weren't willing to perhaps take such a big risk, but instead spent time, the effort to monitor these folk that were out there in the gold fields trying to earn their fortunes, and discovered that they were probably better off trying to serve their specific needs, and so took on the job of providing them with the supplies that they needed, things like pickaxes and shovels, and thereby made their fortunes. And in thinking about how your company's evolved, I would say that you perhaps fit the latter group of people that took the time and effort to really listen to their potential customers. Would that be correct?
That'd be correct. I mean, hopefully we make more money than the gold people, but that would definitely be correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd love to explore and expand on that. For those listening in, I'm your host, Vinay Koshi, and welcome to the Predictable B2B Success podcast, where I interview people like our guest today, Corey McCain, to explore aspects of how they create predictable business success for themselves and others. And as always, you can find details and show notes by heading over to sproutwith.com. So, Corey, you started WeStrive back in 2016, is that correct?
Well, not WeStrive necessarily, but I had an idea for an app in 2015.
Right.
Well, actually, I had an idea for an app in high school. Then in 2015, I came from college. My roommate said, let's make an app. And then 6 years later, I'm still running a company. But the first 3.5 years, I was trying to build a marketplace for fitness programs. To summarize that, a whole bunch of stuff happened. I made a lot of mistakes, learned my lessons, became a way better entrepreneur, and finally launched that platform, realized we were serving much more of a want than a need, pivoted to the SaaS platform that we have today. And, the rest is history. But yeah, that's essentially the summed down story with no actual fiascos and nothing bad happening within there. So yeah.
So would it be fair to say that your journey has really been that of an entrepreneurial journey?
Very much so.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Very much so. I don't have any, I guess my grandparents have a pretty good amount of money, but I didn't have any like investors that put money into me early on. Besides like, $10K from like a rich, not rich, but like a $10K from a friend his parents sold their house and gave him the money or something like that. Just like little things like that happened, but I didn't have any. I've never had a check bigger than 25K from an angel. So we're hoping to raise a pre-seed right now. So that'll actually hopefully change within the next month. But for the time being, we've never had like a big check. So it's a typical, not even typical. It's a typical like struggle story for many years. And we're really just now getting our footing and starting to grow each month. And we kind of have figured out where we are in the industry, essentially.
Certainly. Okay. And now I'm curious, WeStrive serves personal trainers?
Yeah, so that's our target market. So we serve the trainers and their clientele. So we have like a full mobile app for them to utilize. But yeah, 100% targeting the B2B. Our previous app was B2C. It was a marketplace for fitness programs. We realized B2B is the way to go. We'll eventually have a B2C play where the users can actually find trainers as well, but we're have that on pause right now. So yeah.
But what intrigued me was the fact that you decided to go into this whole fitness space, which is extremely competitive.
Absolutely.
And so I was curious as to why you wanted to delve into that.
Well, in the first place, I mean, the way I looked at it was when if I can go back in time, I wouldn't have built what I built in the first place. But the way I looked at it was there wasn't, and still to this day isn't, a marketplace for fitness programs where you have hundreds of trainers and thousands of programs, and you can just go 3 days a week, bodybuilding. I want a trainer from Australia. I want this, this, and this. And so we actually did build that. So like it was a really cool platform. We made a few grand off it, whatever, but like, essentially at the end of the day, you're still getting a program. So it doesn't matter what little meticulous way you get through it. It doesn't matter how many trainers you have, you get a program. So like at the end of the day, we're competing with Nike and Adidas and all these other companies that are selling, their own little apps. So that's why I got into it. And then the pivot was we switched to a SaaS that's very competitive in business B2B, because I spoke with all these trainers that I was working with for their programs, and they kept asking me, how do I run my business through here? How do I manage clients? How do I handle billing? And I kept saying, like, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. And then finally I was like, why don't we do that? Like, why wouldn't that be? Because no one's even asking for this program thing that's our whole business. So we decided to pivot, and like, we definitely do have competitors, but we're super confident, and I can show screenshots side by side that we provide a much better product, and we're going to just continue to excel and, move further past them. So yeah.
Certainly. Excellent. So given your journey to date, what would you say is your personal area of strength?
I don't know how this happened. I was just telling someone earlier today, because they were asking, it was like an investor asking me like what my kind of same question, like what are my best at with the company? I got my accounting degree, so I have like a business background. I don't know what happened, but I'm really good at product. I think I'm definitely more of a creative. I probably should have gotten a marketing degree instead of an accounting degree. I just kind of understand, like, I can look, someone could be like, let's make a poker app by tomorrow. And I could, in the night, design the entire thing from settings page to what swipes left and right, what buttons and icons go where. And so I'm not the best designer. So we have a UX UI group or team that works with that. But as far as like creating the overall concept and understanding the customer journey within that, that's kind of my expertise. So, however, I am the CEO. So I have to fundraise. I have to, deal with customers. I have to deal with like pretty much everything. So
Sure.
I have to force myself to like put Figma away, put InVision away, and like actually run the company. Because if I had my way and I wasn't the CEO, I would just design for 12 hours a day and I would love it. So I'm obsessed with design and product and all that. Yeah.
Certainly. So what would you say is something in your area of strength that businesses don't know but should?
I think listening to your customers, and everyone says this, but I think like truly, because the thing is and the reason that we have 1/30th of the budget of our competitors, and yet we've already been taking some of their clients and switching over to WeStrive, is because, sorry, I have like a million fruit flies in my new apartment. It's super annoying. Is because we've actually listened to our customers. And so we have some trainers that will switch over and they'll ask us, or I'll be looking at what they're currently doing. And I'll be like, well, why would they even add that feature? That doesn't even make sense. And they're like, I have no idea. I've never used it. And so for us, every feature is applicable. Every feature is actually something that was vetted by a trainer, or was a trainer that had an idea, and then we kind of bulked those ideas together and then launched a feature or launched an update. So just massively listen to our customers. I still talk to 3 trainers a day on video calls, just like, what are you looking for? What is the industry up to these days? Like, how can we help you? So I think just listening to your audience is super important, and it gets said a lot, but I think it needs to be said more because it's just such a crucial part of your business.
Let's see if we can unpack that a bit more. When you say you're listening, what exactly is it that you're listening for? Because we could have fairly wide-ranging conversations. So how do you ensure that you're getting the information that you need?
Yeah, and so I think this was my mistake when I first started with the original app was called Perfect. My first mistake was I read this book called The Lean Startup. That wasn't the mistake, sorry. I read the book called The Lean Startup, and it tells you to listen to your audience and don't give biased questions. Like, don't say like, wouldn't you use this if, like, I remember one guy pitched me his company and he's like, we're going to make millions. And I was like, why? He's like, well, I asked 100 lawyers if they wanted to make 60,000 more per year. And they all said yes. And I was like, well, no shit. Because you asked them if they wanted to make 60,000 more dollars. You didn't explain how, you didn't explain like what was going to happen. So that's obviously a totally different extreme. But then the extreme that I was doing it to was, I was listening to them, but I was ignoring the additional questions they were asking. So they would say like, this is so cool that I saw my programs. And then when they would ask, how do I manage clients? How do I handle billing? I would just say, we don't do that. And then I would move on. And I would just be like, yeah, like, why are you even asking this? Who cares? Like, move on. And then a good example of that and how I learned as an entrepreneur is when we launched, because we have our new platform that we launched 2 months ago, but we originally launched the MVP of WeStrive, this SaaS platform, in 2020 of January. And so for years I had or for like the first year that we were redeveloping it, I had trainers asking me, can I use it on my phone? And I was like, nope, it's only on your computer website. We're not going to optimize it for mobile. It's on your computer. And then the next trainer, can I use it on my phone? Can I use it on my phone? And I was like, no, like in my head, I was like, trainers are going to be at home building programs, managing clients. They're not going to be on the go, which was the dumbest idea ever. But I was like, they're not going to be on the go doing this. And sure enough, we launched in January of 2020, and 66% on our analytics, 66% of trainers tried logging in and using it from their phone and couldn't use it, and then just deleted it.
Oh.
And so I was like, shit. So
yeah,
because if you were able to get past it, it was just completely broken. Like it wasn't that hard to update it, but it was completely broken. So just examples like that I do now versus before is anytime any trainer asks me a question or brings up an idea, I go, oh, thank you so much. That's a great idea. And I'll actually write it down. And then I'll have sort of a tally, whether it's physical or just in my head of, okay, for example, we had 3 trainers last week ask if they could send weekly check-ins for their clients. And I was like, 1, that's a good idea. 2, if 3 of you are asking for this probably should be a feature on our platform. So now we've reprioritized our product timeline and put that way ahead of where it would have been like way down the line. So just listening and keeping track of what people are saying, and then being really open to the questions that they ask, because if they're asking something, it's probably because it reflects their own business. And if it reflects their business, maybe that should be a feature on your platform. So, yeah.
If I could put this another way, you're really trying to figure out what the experience should look like. In other words, what sort of experience do they want? But also to break that down further, I would say that there are specific product needs as well as service needs in order to solve the solution, to provide the solution that they're looking for. Would that be correct?
Yeah. And so one thing that pisses me off about entrepreneurship within the startup community is that every mentor ever is going to tell you, like, don't get into a feature battle with your competitors. Don't add these features. And I agree to an extent, because at a certain point, it's like, you can't add every feature on the planet. But when you're in a position like mine, and you're going into an industry that already exists, like we have competitors that have thousands of features. So that's why in 2020, when we had our MVP year, it was just our minimum viable product year for anyone listening. We were getting crushed because trainers would be like, this is way easier to use. This is awesome. They do a week trial. They go, but I can't do this on a calendar view. I can only do it when it's zoomed in on one day. That's really annoying. I'm going to switch back to my other competitor. And so we just kept having these like, And so I hate that advice, because founders and investors will always say, they'll be like, don't get into a feature war. Don't add all the features that your clients ask for. I say that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because if they're asking for features and you have 30 people asking you, maybe you should add that feature. Like, call me crazy. Like, why would you not add that feature? So I'm actually the opposite view. I get the point of don't add every single feature that your trainers ask for, that your users ask for. But if everyone's asking, then you should add that. It's just like just common sense to me. So I guess be common sense. I don't know. Yeah.
From a product perspective, you're not just looking at the overall experience and convenience. We talked about being able to use it on a laptop or a computer desktop type environment as opposed to mobile. There's functionality, efficiency, compatibility. Are there other things that you're looking for as well from a product perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's not just like, okay, my iPhone works. It's how does it flow from screen to screen? Like, if I'm, how applicable is it? So, like, for example, does it take me like what feature do you use the most, and how many buttons does that take? So, like, if you're trying to get to your workouts every day, why would you make your workouts take 6 buttons to get to? So we have a path where you can go to our train tab, and then the program, and then the overview of the month, and then the overview of the week, and then the overview of the day, and then start the day. Or we added a quick button on your homepage where you just click it and you start. So it's stuff like that where I look at myself as a user, because I'm actually using the app every day and going, okay, does this make sense? And so if I'm in the gym, I'm gonna get pissed off because I'm like, I don't want to have to push this button 5 times. Why isn't there instant access to this? So you have to think about the flow of your platform too. I've seen a lot of our competitors have just like the dumbest, like, you click on a client's profile and then it opens up a new tab, then you have to like pull up another screen. It's like, why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just have it all compressed in one place and it's neatly organized? So there's so many elements that come into product. And I mean, I'm still learning every day, and our UX UI designer is absolutely amazing. So like, he takes my ideas that I already think are awesome and he makes them even better. So it's everything. You can't just make a good looking product. It has to actually function correctly, and it has to integrate with your website and your mobile app if you're using both.
So to address these needs, are you talked about you being a user and the experience that you get out of using the platform, but are you also monitoring the use of other folks and their
so a few points to that. So like, there's the analytical side where you can see okay, how come 90% of our users go to this page and then they just drop? It's like, okay, this page is probably broken. And then the other perspective is we have trainers and I've also done a good job of creating a really strongly knit early user community. So our trainers are very vocal. If something doesn't work, they're like, hey, this page is broken. They tell us instantly. And so we're like, sweet, we fix the page. Or like yesterday, this guy was like, hey, why can't I record, measurements in my mobile app? And I'm like, hey, just so you know, that's a feature that's coming out. We have it on the website right now. So you just log on the website, you can do it, but you can't do it from your mobile phone. But again, tally in my head, okay, that's the fifth trainer to ask. Maybe we should push that up a little bit. So constantly listening to them, they're going to provide a great feedback. And for me, I just posted a tweet about this the other day, just talking about this exact same thing. It's like, if you create this really strong community early on, they're going to literally be your product for you. Like they're going to create every idea. Like I have tons of ideas, but I honestly don't even have to, because they're telling me new stuff every day, because they're so passionate and they're so closely knit to what we're creating that they just create an entire database of ideas for us. So just making sure you're listening and also checking your analytics to see, like what's actually happening with inside your platform.
So tell us, how did you go about creating this community? It's quite something to create a community around a product as opposed to, say, a mission or a cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And so maybe I shouldn't use the word community, because we're still debating on doing because our Instagram has a pretty loyal, small, trainer group that comments on all the photos and likes all the photos and all that stuff. But I was thinking about doing a Facebook group, but I haven't done it yet. We're thinking about building our own community inside of WeStrive. So it'd be like a community chat page or a community chat wall. So we're thinking about doing that. But when I say community, I meant that more in the sense that they know me personally, and me or someone on the team has walked them through the platform, or one of the people on the team has instantly responded to their email or instantly responded to their chat, has been very supportive. And, if something breaks, we fix it immediately. So creating not necessarily a sense of community yet, but more of a sense of loyalty and a sense of appreciation, where we'd have to really screw up for them to want to switch somewhere else. Right. And they also feel partially responsible to want to make this product better because they're so involved in it. So instead of just being welcome to WeStrive, you're a user, have fun. It's they get emails weekly, hey, here's a really cool tip on how to grow your business, or here's a blog on, top 5 ways to improve your conversion rate with clients. So we're actually engaging with these people and creating content and staying up to date with what they actually need, and not just setting them free and ignoring them basically. Yeah.
So would you say that they feel connected to you because they have come to expect that you are seriously invested in their growth from a business point of view in other ways?
Yeah, I think there's two sides. And so I got really worried early on because I was the one personally doing all the demos, and I still kind of am sometimes, but I was the one doing all the demos. So I was worried. I was what if they're only involved because they know me and they're Corey runs that, whatever, because they just personally know who I am. Because when we post on our Instagram, we usually get 30 likes, 40 or whatever. But if they post a photo of me, it'll get 100, because they're Corey. And then it's so I was worried that I was am I the platform? But sure enough, we've had users sign up, especially lately, without ever talking to me, that are leaving comments and reviews that are this is such a cool app. Thank you guys so much. Because they're getting those automated emails that we have in Trip. They're getting those blog updates that we have that are super supportive for our community. So they feel actually involved, and that's just going to keep growing and growing, because we've been doing this on a really light budget. And as we raise this round, we're going to start doing more and more things to help our trainers actually grow their business and expand beyond what they're just doing right now.
Certainly. We touched upon service needs. What does that look like? It's one thing to be quick to respond, but is there other aspects that you focus on in order to ensure that?
So definitely, obviously the product, so making sure the product's good, staying involved with the chat bot, making sure that our email campaigns are up to date. I don't know what that was. Making sure our email campaigns are up to date. And then the other things are stuff that we're about to start releasing slowly over time. So I want to create a kind of a university that they can go through for free through us, where we kind of educate them on how to set up an LLC, how to get insurance, how to get clients, how to set up a Zoom call properly. So we're starting to build that blog content. And then once we build that blog content, we're going to use that as the base for this education that we're creating. On top of that, we've already created some sales graphs and exports for them. So we're going to create more and more end of the year, tax season comes out, you push a button, all of your sales come through us. And the cool thing about that is that's going to also help our business too, because we're going to get more trainers using us for their sales, specifically for that purpose. So I think like, and to kind of like conclude that topic or that sentence, it's like, what's cool about helping your users and helping your community is it usually comes back in a good way. So like if I add more features to help my users, they're going to pay me more money. And so it's like win-win. So they make more money, their users are happier, and we're happy. So we're going to be adding so many things like marketing, automated emails for your clients, outgoing emails for potential clients. So more and more things are coming for sure, but we've started with the product and that initial base, and then we're kind of growing from there.
My takeaway from what you just shared, it would be empathy, in that you have developed this sense of empathy with your audience that has allowed you to now, perhaps to a degree, intuitively be able to go, yep, these are the features that need to be developed. And through your communication are fairly transparent, I'm assuming, about the product roadmap, what features will be coming out, how this will evolve, and share that with the wider group of clients or community, as you said. Absolutely. As well as ensuring accessibility to these trainers and their clients as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a very empathetic person, like 100%. It isn't always a good thing. I feel like sometimes I'll be like, oh, you're going through a hard time. Like, here's a free month. You know what I mean? But like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like people, and another thing I disagree with is there's so many founders or advisors that'll be like, never drop your price, never give a discount, blah, blah. I'm like, F off, dude. Like, some people are going through some hard times, man, and just give them a month. Like, what worst case scenario, you lost $17. Best case scenario, they literally love you forever. Like, we had one trainer who paid an entire year for one of our competitors, and she instantly hated it. She got like an hour, and she's like, "This is terrible." And she goes, "Can I get my money back?" And they just go, "No." Like, we would have said yes. We'd be like, "Yeah, of course." Like, sorry you don't like it. Like, let us know what we can improve on. They just said no. So then she got even more pissed. It was like, of course, like you just lost hundreds of dollars. And I started talking to her, and she's like, I would love to switch to WeStrive, but I just paid $300 for blank competitor. And yeah, I was just like, well, tell you what, if you sign up and you like it, you'll do a free month trial. After that, if you pay for 1 month, I'll give you the next 11 months for free. And she goes, okay. So she tried it for a month. She fell in love. She paid us $35 for 1 month. And then I gave her an 11-month discount. And she is the happiest person ever. She constantly posts about us. She leaves reviews for us. She's down in New Zealand, just like loves our app. And so it's like, it doesn't really cost me that much to host a trainer. So we got $35. Woo, cool, whatever. But like, instead of saying, no, sorry, we're not going to help you out, she would have just sat with that competitor. Maybe after a year, she would have fell in love with them, and she would have been their champion, eventually. Or I bite the bullet for 11 months. Literally, who cares? And then now she's having the time of her life, loves our platform, has brought on like 15 clients, and is posting about it every day. So it's like, at the end of the day, I think that whole don't give someone a discount, don't help someone out when they're in need is just stupid. And it like, woo, you had more money, like, hey, but I think your community will be more appreciative of it if you actually like find ways to support them when you can.
Certainly. Okay. How do you address issues around control? And by control, I'm referring to setting boundaries about what is doable and achievable as opposed to not.
Yeah, so I'm not the best person to ask for that because I'm the person that's like telling my dev team, like, guys, so we're going to do this, and this, and it's probably going to take about a month. And my project manager is like, Corey, that'll take at least 2 months. And then my dev team's like, that'll take 3 months. So it's like, it's definitely hard. And thankfully I have a great project manager that's good at that. And thankfully I have our Slack channel is just, we have our entire group chat with all the team members. So it's like, we can have an open discussion. It's not easy for sure, because there are certain things that, have to be prioritized. Like, for example, we relaunched end of December, like literally December 31st. And then for about a month, we had a bunch of bugs and missing features. And I wanted the inbox into the platform by like mid-January at the latest. Like, I was pissed that it wasn't there New Year's Eve. We didn't launch the inbox until last week, like literally 3 months after I wanted it launched. So at a certain point, you have to kind of just go like, you know what, there were certain things before the inbox that we had to have. Like, we had to have like a certain thing in the settings. We had to have a certain thing that would warn us when bugs were hitting the app. We had to warn, like, certain things had to happen. So you have to really prioritize the features that you have to prioritize. And then there's certain things that you really want to have like an inbox. And sometimes you just can't have those, and you have to just wait and be patient. And after 6 years, I am the most patient person ever. Like, I'm just like, I used to be freaking out, and now I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, whatever. Yeah. Like, I can't fix it. I'm not a coder. Like, I wish I was. So you have to just let it happen, I guess. Yeah.
I'm also curious, how do you determine what features get priority? Now, I know you mentioned you do a tally either in your head or on a piece of paper or somewhere else. But beyond that, is there more of a method to the process?
Yeah. So people always ask me this because other companies do have a method, and we don't have like a set in stone method. So we have a full Asana spreadsheet of like, because I have a billion ideas and they're all broken down through design and all that stuff. So I have a full Asana spreadsheet. We have actually 2 or 3 Asana full tabs just for my ideas for the future. So it's like hundreds of ideas. And the most current one we have is called like startup development. And so we'll have multiple categories within that. And we kind of have a funnel that we go through. And basically like we'll kind of look at it and go, okay, like, is this going to actually make us money, or is this going to make trainers really happy? Or like we don't necessarily prioritize one over the other, because some companies will go like, if it's making us money, we need to put it in there. But for me, it's like, yes, but if it makes my trainers happy, that's going to make us money too, because they're going to tell more trainers and they're going to be happier. They're going to add more clients. So you kind of have to go back and forth with the two. But essentially, we look at the most important features, and typically based on one, how necessary is it for our platform? Like, is it a core feature that will actually like move us forward, like to another age, basically? Or like if we had a feature at the very bottom of the pile and we had 50 trainers ask for it, we immediately skyrocket that to the top. And it's like, why wouldn't we prioritize that? Like it just makes sense that way for me. So other companies do it differently. They have their feature set and they just do it. For me, it's like, if the trainers are asking for it, that means like, who am I to tell them that feature doesn't need to be built? This platform is for them, not for me. I'm not building this for myself. Like I'm not a trainer. Like I don't use it. I build the company. So if they're asking for it, let's put it to the top. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that you do a bit of a means end analysis?
You can say that. I mean, like I said, it's like we do have our actual system that's in place.
Yeah.
But on the drop of a dime, we'll put another feature ahead. Like my designer gets really pissed because he's a really good designer.
Yeah.
And for example, like we have him currently redoing the entire trainer app. So we had to relaunch without the trainer app. We couldn't fit it in time. So he's redoing the whole thing. And I keep stopping him and putting him on other projects. So I'm like, no, actually, I need you to work on we're doing promo codes now instead of just promo links. I'm like, you need you to design the promo links. And I'm like, actually, we need a new logo. Actually, we need this. And so he gets really pissed, but I'm like, look, man, like the trainer app's going to take 3 months to develop. So you've designed half of it. So take a pause. And now we're going to focus on this stuff. And then you can come back to this. But it's like, I get it. I'm totally overwhelming him. But so I don't remember your original question at this point, but basically it's means to an end for sure. And I just try and prioritize things how I can. And we're adding features like left and right way faster than anyone else that I know. So it's a good time. Yeah.
Okay, certainly. And how do you go about solving it? I mean, you talked about having a Slack channel that allows you to communicate company wide. Are there other aspects that you incorporate to actually serve these needs?
Yeah, I mean, my for the team wise, there's less for sure. For me personally, I have like 100 bookmarks that all have their certain needs, just like little quick access things, whether it's for social or for project management. Yeah. I personally, me and my social lead and some of my investors use Notion to manage all of our ideas and like our blog flow and all that stuff. And I apologize for the background noise. I moved as far away as I could. And if it's annoying, let me know. And then as far as project management, so how we operate, for design, we use Figma and InVision. So InVision, my designer will do that for the website. So any web designs will go to InVision. And then for any mobile app design, that'll go through Figma. So we'll have like a full layout of Figma. It's just way easier that way because you can actually see as it goes down the line. So that's how we do that. And then all of my personal designs are on Figma as well. So what I'll do for the flow of design is I'll put together my own design, my own creation, and then I'll go to my UX UI designer. I'll be like, hey, make this look way better. And then he'll just take it and make it look better. So that's how that works. As far as like actual updates go, once we have that design, it's going to move down the line in Asana. And then from Asana, because my team's in Ukraine, so it has to be like in Ukrainian to make it easier for my team. Once it's ready to go in Asana, and we're like going to put this product out there, my project manager will move it to Jira. And then in Jira, she'll write it in Ukrainian and then have her own little timeline as well too that she'll keep me updated on. So we kind of move around a lot, and it sounds chaotic, but like it's actually really simple. Like after I'm like the design's done, like I don't like let me know when it's ready. I don't need to see like how it's moving down the progress, because I can't update. Like I can't change the speed of how they're developing. They're going to develop how they develop. So once she goes, it's ready to test, I go, sweet. And obviously I'm asking a million questions like, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready on the journey? But yeah, so that's kind of how we do it through those different channels.
Do you incorporate feedback loops into each stage of the process?
So I might be answering this question wrong, but basically I'm one of the main reviewers because I know how it's going to operate. And then we also have a quality assurance person full-time on the platform as well. So she's more in the back end. So like while they're developing it, she's seeing like, because I don't know if you're familiar with mobile apps and how they work, but basically you'll put an app out to test flight for iPhone. So it goes to test flight, and then I'll try it out, and then I'll be like, this button's missing, and then I'll like put it back, and then they'll bring it back to test flight. So she's before test flight. So she'll handle like, because I get it and there's still bugs on it, but she'll handle the hundreds of bugs prior to that. So I never get to see those bugs, because I can find bugs like real quick. So that's kind of how it works. So she'll do all the feedback there. I get the final product, and then I either approve or deny it. Once I approve it, we push it out to the App Store. So that's kind of how we go on that funnel there.
What about the end user? Are they able to provide feedback?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we don't have like a formal, like, pop up, like put feedback here. But like we encourage everyone to put that in our chat bot. They can email us however they want to do that. And they usually do. And we also just added a more advanced kind of bug tracking system to our platform. So now we're going to know immediately if something crashes, and then we're going to find out why way faster. So that's going to help us a ton. Yeah, for sure.
What about educating them in terms of adoption? Are there a series of instructions that you use to onboard and get people started to achieve a quick win, or how does it work?
Yeah, so we're constantly innovating on that, and that's like our biggest thing, because what's cool about our platform is that once a trainer adds clients and signs up for that first month, we rarely have churn. Like people, like the only time we ever have churn is if like some lady gets pregnant, or like some guy's like, hey, I got a job, I'm making $200,000 a year at a corporation. So I'm like, have fun, man. That's awesome. So like, that's the only churn we have. No one's ever like, I hate this platform, I wish I'd never paid for it. Like it's never even happened. Actually, that might've happened like last year we were MVP, but now not anymore. So that's great. But the problem is that we have users signing up all the time, and then if they don't add a client or a program, they just never pay for it. And at first, that used to really piss me off. I'm like, why would you sign up and blah, blah, blah. But then I was being empathetic, and I was like, okay, let me put myself in their shoes, AKA my own shoes. How many times have I signed up for a free trial and never used it? Or how many times have I signed up for a free trial with 5 different emails just to keep using that free trial? So I was like, okay. So I was like, I have to outsmart myself. So I was like, what? So then now every time I sign up for a free trial, I'm like, what have they done to convince me to pay for this eventually? Because there are times where I'll pay for something, I'm like, how did they do that? Because that's crazy. It's so hard to get someone to put their card into business and sign up for it. So I'm constantly looking for new ways to do it. Right now, when someone signs up, we have a pop-up video and then kind of a little quick walkthrough to go through it. We also have an FAQ dropdown that has a video that breaks down every single page. And then if you go to our programs page or our clients page, we'll walk you through the programs page on how to make a program. And the client page will walk you through how to make how to add a client. Because what we realized is that if a trainer adds a program, they're like, I don't know the number, but it's like 20% more likely to sign up. If they add a client, they're like 70% more likely to sign up, because once you add that client, the client's going to see how incredible our app is, and they're going to go, okay, this is awesome. And then what is the trainer going to do? Move them back to using a PDF? Like, it's just like, like, sorry about it. Like, you're stuck on WeStrive now, I guess. Yeah. So just getting those key points nailed down is really difficult. And so we're still constantly working on that.
Would you say that the whole COVID scene has really helped with adoption?
Yes and no. So you think it would have totally helped with adoption, and it didn't hurt for sure, because what was good about COVID was that, obviously COVID's terrible, but I meant for our business. What was good about COVID for our business is that trainers that would never have moved online did move online. That was great.
Right.
The bad thing about COVID for our business is that most trainers just went to Zoom because they weren't, because our business is more for your remote clients. So these trainers were doing Zoom classes with their local clients. So they're, Zoom's free. We're going to add a Zoom integration soon. We just haven't like prioritized it yet, but it's like, for us, it's just, they want to have that same one-on-one experience. So Zoom's the next best thing. So it's going to take a while to show those trainers like, okay, well, you can have your Zoom clients, but then your cousin in Florida that you can never see, she would love just a program that she can follow when she's just working out at home or going to the gym, wherever she's going. She would love that program. So good and bad for sure. And, once we have that Zoom integration, it'll be even better though, for sure. Yeah.
Certainly. Okay. And the customer service side of things, you've talked about responding to them via email and the chatbot. Are there other aspects that really drive the responsiveness of the service that you offer?
Yeah, we're super active on social media too. So a lot of our trainers know that they can DM us on Instagram, and and to be honest, I must be blunt with you, I handle all of the customer support too. We don't have anyone for that. I could hire someone in a heartbeat to do it, but like we just don't have, our app works really well. So like we don't, it's not like every day someone's like, this is broken, or maybe we have one person saying like, how do I do this? But I answer maybe 4 customer questions a day, and the rest of them just pay us and run their business. And, we don't bother them. They don't bother us, and they're happy. So it's me running it. And I'm super like, whether I'm at the bar drinking with my friends or I'm like, on a jog, I'll stop and just like do a quick response. And I know our product from top to bottom. I can answer any question in a split second. It's like my entire life. So yeah, so we're just I'm really quick on all our responses, whether it's email, chat, or social. And our trainers all know that they can reach us either way. So it works really well. We don't have like a phone call or anything like that. But if trainers want to set up a demo with me, I'm more than happy. I'll give them my personal calendar, but like, yeah, pick a call. Like, let's do it right now. Like literally it's supposed to be a 15-minute call from 1 Central until 1:50 Central. I did a 50-minute call with his trainer and his business coach. And I just walked them through the entire step. They had tons of questions, and I just like walked them through everything. And I'm more than happy to do that with anyone for a certain amount of time. Eventually I'm like, okay, I need to stop doing this. But I had some great insights on the call. Like I realized that, and I totally was ignorant on this. I realized that 95% or 90% of our 2000 exercise photos and videos are white people. And I didn't realize that. I didn't even, because my hometown is predominantly white. I had a Hispanic friend in it. I had a couple black friends that were involved, but like it was, if we had 40 models, there were probably 36 people were white. And so they pointed out to me, because they were both black. One was a trainer, one was a business coach. And they were both like, you only, like, why are all these photos of white people? And she said it very just like, I don't care what I'm just going to say it. And I was like, oh, I was really taken back, because I was like in the middle of talking about something. And I was like, oh my God, sorry. And then I thought about it. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that, because we're currently about to reshoot our videos. And I'm just so busy. I probably would have just forgotten about that being an important thing to like include other people in it, because we have a really good dynamic of male and female. I just like, I know I have a lot of stuff to do. I don't know. I just didn't think about race. I was like, I don't care what race you are. Like, you can be black, you can be white, whatever. So I was just like, wow. So that was incredible feedback. And if I hadn't been on the call, I might not have gotten that feedback. So I think that's why it's important as a CEO to like be really involved in your company and with your users early on, because they're going to tell you feedback like that like your rep might not pass along to you. Like that's very important, because we could get like, canceled or something later for just being like 1,000 white people on the platform, So yeah, so it was great feedback, and I'm just trying to be as involved as I can with our audience or with our users.
I can certainly understand that. Do you foresee a time where you might need to scale back on having these one-on-one calls?
Oh, 100%. I should already be doing it. Yeah. The only reason I'm not doing it is, one, like the way I look at it right now, our most valuable asset is our development. Like every time we add a new feature, it unlocks a new tier of trainers. Like we just added group inbox, and now we have all these trainers that have like 40 clients in a big group challenge that they can, now they can join WeStrive, because before they couldn't, because they didn't have group chat. So it's stuff like that. And so I try to prioritize our development dollars and our hours to the dev team. And so with my personal hours, I spend time raising funding and talking with trainers and all that stuff. But like the actual trainer calls, I still prioritize. So I'm like, look, while we're waiting for these dev updates, I want to continue to stay involved with my audience. I want to make sure that like, we're getting more trainers on board, first of all, to make more money. But finally, it's just like, I just don't want to like, lose track of what's happening. Like that was a very important call today. I'm glad I was on it. So I will scale back I'll maybe do 1 call a week eventually, but for the now, it's like a couple calls a day and, making it work.
From a acquisition point of view or a client generation point of view, word of mouth, I'm assuming, has played a big role to get to where you are today, as has the overall experience. But is there anything else that you're doing to drive client acquisition?
We have a ton of channels coming out as we develop, the more features. So I have thousands of trainers that I've spoken with that I won't reach out to until this trainer app is done. I just refuse to, because I know we're going to lose them.
Right.
Because they have to have it's just important feature that they don't have to have it, but it's just it's a big feature that we're missing right now. So with that being said, we do a lot of social outreach. I have a VA that reaches out to trainers every single day. The thing I used to do. So I used to do the outreach, the responses, and the calls. And so now he does all the outreach. So then that filters out all the trainers that don't respond. And then the ones that do respond, I talk to them and then I set up a call. So eventually the goal is for him to do the responses too and set up a call. And then eventually the goal is for him to also do the calls. So he'll kind of move down that chain. So social is a big thing for us. We're adding promo codes by Tuesday, I think. So we'll have those on Tuesday, where we're going to work with a bunch of business coaches that have trainers underneath them. So we're going to give them promo codes to give a little discount plus pay the coaches. So a bunch of revenue streams are coming out, a bunch of, kind of traction channels are coming out, but mainly right now it's through socials and word of mouth. Yeah.
So when you say reaching out via social, is it just going, hey, I see you all, into fitness and training and we have an app that would be useful? Is that the gist of it?
Honestly, essentially, it's pretty as simple as that. I've been doing this for years, so I have an exact log, and I have it quick or hotkeyed to my computer, so I can just go brr, brr, brr. And then once they respond, I know what every trainer is going to say, and I know why they're going to say it, so I have responses to that. And then I'll also, about 2 responses in, I'll send an actual voice message to let them know that I'm technically copying and pasting, but I'm actually physically there doing it. You know what I mean? So then I'll send a voice message hey, we'd love to set up a call. And then obviously on the call, it's me, talking with them. But it's crazy because I've done so many calls. The calls are the same. I'll get to a certain page and I'm they're going to either ask this or this, and they'll go, is this where I do billing? And I'm yes, it is. Or is this how my programs do this? And I'm of course you're going to ask that. I knew you were. So yeah. So it's I don't even remember your question anymore, but yeah.
No worries. Corey, I think we've covered a fair bit of ground around this whole idea of customer needs and wants. Is there anything else that you feel is important to highlight, given your experiences today? I
mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing to take out of this is just really listen to your customers. And, we're still early on with our MRR and our users, but I'm very, very confident based on how the calls are going right now and how the trainers are canceling our competition that we're a few small features away from just taking this industry over. So, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the time that I spent getting to know my audience and understanding what their actual problems were. So I think just listening to them and then actually listening to them in so in depth that you can sit in their shoes and go, oh, this would suck to have to go through that. How do we fix that problem? And then on top of that, figuring out how you can not only help them fix that problem, but how you can also help them grow their business as well. That's where we're coming in with all those onboarding tools, those marketing tools, those business development tools that we're adding. So that's going to become in the future, but kind of those two sides of the coin are super important for your users.
Would you say that listening is important, but listening with a process to back you up is 100%, really the key to it?
Because before I would listen and I would if 10 trainers told me I wanted this feature, I would just forget about it. Oh yeah, that is a good idea. But if you write them all down and you look at it, you go, oh my God, this is a lot of people asking for the same thing. Pretty crazy. Maybe they actually could use it. It's just So like I said, I don't agree with the whole don't add features people are asking for. I think that's ridiculous. It makes zero sense. If people are asking for features, it's probably because they want them. So I don't know. Yeah.
So terrific. Corey, if the listeners are curious and wanted to find out a bit more or connect with you, where would you recommend they head to?
Yeah, so our Instagram is just @WeStriveApp. You can email us at help@WeStriveApp.com or me personally at Corey@WeStriveApp.com. I'm also at Corey McCain on Twitter, so CoryMcCane. And that's pretty much it. So, my Instagram is private usually, so it's a little different of a world than my professional life, but yeah, either way, however you want to connect, I'm more than happy to answer questions. And, if anyone has any issues, just let me know, or not issues with me, just in their business, clarify.
No worries. Corey, thanks so much for doing this.
A pleasure. Yeah, it was nice to meet you, man. This is great.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Predictable B2B Success Podcast, I would love your support. Head on over to the Apple Podcasts app and give us a rating. And as always, you can catch every episode of the Predictable B2B Success Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.